Hello Nigerians, Africans, welcome. When we talk about the revolutionary protests going on in Nigeria and why we must continue, it tells us the urgency of the issues ahead of us, of the matter, the urgency and importance, and the enormity of the cases before us. When you look at the protests, the North seem to be making a shipwreck of the vision and the mission of that protest. And that is the more reason we have to continue. Because we need to keep telling governments that they have destroyed our country. If these are the group of people we have raised, if these are the type of nation we have built, where people are violent, where people cannot reason, where people cannot make demands without destroying things, then the government has failed. Every good government sets the precedents for its people, streamlines the activities of children from their birth to when they become actualized as adults. They follow those pathways. It is the program of governments. It is what is enshrined in the values of the nation, what is enshrined in their mission as a people, what is enshrined in their educational system, what is enshrined in the values of their governing class, what is enshrined in the nation and the people they want to build. The political class has destroyed our country. The northern Nigeria has political elites, people who have led this country for decades. And when they speak like they are interested in the welfare of the people. They speak like they are actually doing things on ground. But this protest reveals the decay in the system and the extent to which these people have only fought for their own good and not a collective good. That protest is revealing that it is massively or predominantly a young population that are not catered for. Now they are hungry. I once said in one of my videos that a hungry man is an angry man, and more, that hunger can lead to cannibalism, vandalism, and a lot of mayhem. I said that if people wear one cloth, they can manage it until it gets washed, worn out, even torn, they could manage it. But when you are hungry, you cannot manage it. At least when it goes beyond what your body can take. That is what is breeding all forms of crimes, especially in northern Nigeria. Governments can go ahead and cry about destruction of property. It seems to be what they are very concerned about. But we are concerned mainly about the people we have built, the lives that are being destroyed. Because it is those lives that, if they were not destroyed, they won't destroy property. So much more than properties that can be rebuilt, if people maximize their resources, we are now concerned about the people we have built. Most of the people in the north, as they say, the protest has turned to something not acceptable, calling for foreign government to take over their country, as we see those protesters wield Russian flags. But when I also look at those protesters, I see something: ignorance. They do not know what they are in for. Probably they would have heard that their next neighbors, Niger, who are very close to them, had a military takeover, and they saw them fly the flags of Russia, asking for support from Russia, considering the fact that they've been misled by some European powers. So these people are copycats, and majority of them that are in the streets are not even very aware of what they are doing. They only saw somebody mass produce flags and hand over to them, and they are pushing it. But there are some people who are actually the proponents of those ideas that they would need to do what their neighboring country, Niger, did. Not really that they are asking for an overthrow or actual takeover from Russia, because there's no way that country will come and usurp powers over Nigeria. You will see the difference in our ideologies. The North is totally different from the South. Totally different. And this protest also reveals more of the destruction our country have faced, mainly because of the amalgamation of the Southern and the Northern Protectorate. Countries that have been muddled up together by British powers and up to date. Nobody is saying, let us review this thing so that we can grow according to our peculiar cases. That separation is glaring in this protest. The difference in ideology, the difference. So these people that are wielding these flags, they don't even know what they are doing. They are just copycatting. And they feel also that if the military can take over their country, to be much better. After all, what we experience now is not even up to what it was during the military era. Even though no sane person would glamorize a military takeover. We are not asking for a military takeover. We are asking our brothers to stand down and put their foot on the ground to insist that government will work. For the lives of these people that are wasting. For the resources that are not being maximized. For the decay we see in our country. And we are insisting that bad governance should end. Now the North is looking like what is jeopardizing the protest. And it can never be a deterrent to well-meaning Nigerians in the South who are asking for a change in status quo. We will push on to ask that government does the right things. Because if they do, we will rescue our brethren in the North. We will rescue our people in the North because what we see is dire. It should be a stark reminder to the government that they have not done well over decades. There are leaders in the North that has squandered the resources of the people that kept them in this condition. Should rethink and know that it is now time to repair what they have damaged. Nigeria is at a crossroad where we cannot retreat from asking for good governance. We are at a crossroad where we cannot retreat from asking for good governance. The search for good governance has to continue. We will press on. We will not stop until we rescue our countrymen, our country people who have been turned like animals. We are not deterred and cannot be deterred by the complaints of the government. They are crying foul. And when they cry, the more they cry, the more they expose their incompetence, their inability to run a country. So government, instead of lamenting and counting your losses, it is time to go and sit down and re-strategize. Change whatever you have been doing that has brought us to this point. We cannot continue like this and we cannot patch it. We cannot keep patching it. Things are not okay. We have to stand down whatever we have been doing and renew this country. And for those of them that are taking advantage of the situation to call for Igbo must go or something, I laugh. You know why I laugh? Let them remove Igbo from the equation of Nigeria and leave the Yorubas and Ariwa and every other group and check how it will look. The Igbos are the salt in Nigeria. I don't know if you know what you're talking about. If you are saying the Igbos should leave, it's not a news. It's nothing new. It's nothing new. It's beginning to sound like broken record. These are people that even want to leave. They are standing by till a time where they will say, "Oh yeah, I am making noise." The noise is even good. Push it on because it will help the federal government of Nigeria give them an easy passage. A referendum to a country where people can reason and think and put people in power based on qualification, based on competence, based on the ability to separate what is right from what is wrong, based on the ability to think for the next person and think ahead and foresee what will go wrong if one person compromises, if one person takes a negative stand, if one person takes the resources of the people, if one man takes over the whole country and buying up everybody. Our institutions have all been compromised. This is why we will continue to push for a reviewed constitution, a reform in our electoral process, a reform in our judicial process, cutting down on the cost of governance, and more. When we fix these things, we will be good for it. No retreat, no surrender. In our homes, in our offices, everywhere we find ourselves, we will keep asking for a change in status quo, ending bad government, and ensuring that our country runs the way it should. More than passing threats, more than passing empty presidential address, in protest is not when you address the people like you're reading a speech. It is when you address the issues of the agitation of the protest. We expected President Tinubu to have come to say, I have heard your request. They closed their ears to the request of the protest and pretend like they are not there, because they believe that leave those people, after a few moments, they will fizzle out. And if they don't do, we will suppress them with our armed forces. And that is why Mr. President did not come out to mention any of the things flying around concerning that protest. They are pretending not to have seen the demands. The demands of the people, I have even mentioned them, they are all over social media. They are pretending not to see them or notice them because it will affect them. Now also, they are pretending not to know that they are also the ones destroying our country and sponsoring mayhem and the form of anarchy we are seeing. When we see those in power that we are supposed to look up to for standards, do the wrong things, what are you teaching the citizens? You lack the moral rights to say that Nigerians are vandalizing properties that you acquired with hard-earned money that will require to be replaced with scarce resources. What a shame. As Mr. President said, for refusing to address the core issues that Nigerian youths are asking. From refusing to address the high-handedness of politicians. Pretentiously, you condemn the death of many people in that protest, but you never spoke to the people killing them. Our military is already on a red alert to continue the killing of our countrymen. But I believe that if their leaders are not compromised, they will see what we are seeing. If this is the country we have built, shame on us. Shame on the president, shame on his cabinet, shame on the government, shame on the people supporting them, shame on all Nigerians who cannot raise their voices and continue to shout until things change. If we retreat and let things continue the way they are, it will continue and get worse. Remember that things will always progress, and negativity will progress to more forms of negativity, which will culminate in destruction. More than calling for dropping the protest so far in the South has been peaceful. But pretentiously, the government will face the South and leave the North. That's the problem we have. That is where they should have deployed the security in the North. The places where they know are red zones. They know there is insurgency in the North. They know there are porous waters in the North. They know there are interests for mining of our minerals in the North. They know there are a lot of things that can jeopardize national safety over there. But they will leave that place and face the South where they don't really have problems. The South can be policed, but I doubt if the North can be policed. So instead of concentrating your security forces on the areas that don't need them, take them to the North. And instead of also shooting your people, find avenues to bring down the situation. And more than crying over change of government, call for change of approach, change of attitude, greed. We hear billions, 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 billions of naira, of dollars, and we wonder where this money is going to. If I want to do something and I have 500,000, by the time I use 100,000, because it's for me and I'm meticulously using it, I will see the effect. I use the next 100, I will see the effect. If government starts by being honest, we will have a country that works. We will not raise a population that are destructive. This protest has also revealed that people who want a decent life in a country are being mopped up with people who do not. Nigerian governments really have to start a national rehabilitation program through transparent, honest governance by standing down whatever they have been doing and look at the demands of the protests.